Hello friends, this is Team Super Simplified and today we are here with current affairs capsule for December 2016 week 1. So let's get started. So first news headline is UK allows 3-parent babies or mitochondrial gene therapy. So this is basically a fertility treatment we are talking about, and in Feb 2016 British Parliament had voted to legalize the procedure, so it has become the first country to legalize 3-parent babies or mitochondrial gene therapy. So now let's understand what is this mitochondrial gene therapy. So mitochondrial gene therapy is actually a solution to mitochondrial genetic diseases which are transmitted from the mother to the child. So if you see in a human cell, there is a cell organelle known as mitochondria, which is also known as the powerhouse of the cell. So what happens, sometimes this mitochondria has some genetic defects which are passed over from the mother to the newborn child, right? So in order to avoid that, this new therapy, mitochondrial gene therapy, was devised. So here what happens is defective mitochondria which is carried by the woman is replaced with the healthy mitochondria of the donor, and the egg is then fertilized with the sperm of the father, and this prevents transmission of mitochondrial diseases from one generation to the next. So now let's see with the help of a schematic diagram how this particular process takes place. So here you have the egg from the mother and this is the father. So the sperm enters the cell and it is fertilized, but here you can see in the egg actually there is a faulty mitochondrial DNA. So what is done here is this fused part is taken out and it is transplanted into the donor's egg, and donor's genes are removed, and then this fertilized egg, this final transplanted egg, is again transplanted back into the original mother, and the original mother gives birth to the healthy baby without any genetic defect. So this is how the entire process takes place. So since there are 3 people involved here, the 2 parents and 1 donor, so that's why it is known as 3-parent babies. But the child which is born is 99% genetically similar to its original parents, because the main genetic material is coming from them. So let's move ahead. So next news item is Supreme Court makes National Anthem mandatory in cinema halls. So in response to a PIL which was focused on commercial exploitation of National Anthem, Supreme Court has said that before every screening of the film in the theaters, National Anthem should be played and people have to stand up in respect. So Supreme Court's logic is that this will instill a feeling of patriotism and nationalism. From exam perspective, what you have to see here is how this will be enforced. Are there any laws in place in this context? Yes, there are some laws. For example, Prevention of Insults to National Honor Act 1971, which covers the national flag, Indian map, Constitution of India, and the national anthem, right? So if this code is violated, then the person can face a jail up to 3 years, right? And another place is Article 51 of the Constitution, where the fundamental duties of the citizens are defined. So here you have the first duty itself, to abide by the Constitution and respect its ideals and institutions, the national flag and the national anthem. So these are the 2 institutional measures which are already in place to enforce this particular order, right? Let's move ahead. UNESCO includes yoga in Intangible Cultural Heritage list. So this is an important news item in culture section. You should pay attention to this. So UNESCO's list of cultural heritage was established in 2008 and it maintains 2 lists. First one is the representative list of intangible cultural heritage of humanity, and the other one is list of intangible cultural heritage in the need of urgent safeguarding. Right, so yoga is included in the second list. There are 814 cultural sites all over the world, 203 natural sites and 35 which are cultural and natural both. So the thing is, since UNESCO's list of intangible cultural heritage is mentioned here, so I thought I'll just compile the items which are there in the list from India. Right, it will be a help for you in prelims. We have Kudiyattam, which is the Sanskrit theatre of Kerala, then Mudiyatti, which is again a theatre ritual of Kerala, tradition of Vedic chanting, Kalbelia folk dance, which originates from Rajasthan, and Ramlila, which is a traditional performance of Ramayana, Sankirtana, which is a singing, drumming and dancing ritual of Manipur. Then we have Ramman, which is a religious festival and a ritual theatre of Garhwal, Himalayas. Then traditional brass and copper craft of utensils of Tatheras in Punjab, Chhau dance from the eastern part of India, from Odisha, West Bengal and Jharkhand, and Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, the recitation of the sacred Buddhist text in Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. Right, so here are some pictures from these so that you can remember them better. So this is the traditional brass and copper craft of utensils of Tatheras in Punjab. Then you have Kalbelia folk songs and dances of Rajasthan. Chhau dance is a classical dance which originated in the eastern India, in the Odisha, West Bengal and Jharkhand. right? If you have seen this movie called Burfi, then you would have seen these characters there dancing in the background, right? So this is nothing but the Chau dance. There are two martial dances in India, important martial dances in India. Kalaripayattu, which is in the South India, basically Kerala, and Chau, which is in the eastern part of India. Then Buddhist chanting of Ladakh, which is the recitation of the sacred Buddhist text in Ladakh region of Jammu and Kashmir. And then we have Sankirtana, which is a singing, drumming and dancing ritual of Manipur. Then Ramlila, which is a traditional performance of Ramayana. Then we have tradition of Vedic chanting also in the list. This is Ramman, religious festival and ritual theatre of Garhwal Himalayas in Uttarakhand basically. Then we have Kudiyattam, which is a Sanskrit theatre of Kerala, and Mudiyetti, again a theatre ritual of Kerala. So these are some of the items from India which are there in the Intangible Cultural Heritage list of UNESCO. Now coming to the next news item, 6th Heart of Asia Conference held in Amritsar, Punjab. So Heart of Asia Conference actually started in 2011. It is also known as Istanbul process. And basically it was established to provide a platform to discuss the regional issues, particularly encouraging security, political and economic cooperation among Afghanistan and its neighbors. So the central focus is Afghanistan here, okay? And this is a region-led dialogue which was launched in November 2011 to expand the practical coordination between Afghanistan and its neighbors and the regional partners in facing some common threats which are common in that area. So this time this was inaugurated by Indian Prime Minister Mr. Modi and Afghan President Ashraf Ghani, and the delegations from 40 countries participated in Amritsar, and the theme was addressing challenges and achieving prosperity. And in the Amritsar declaration, mainly 3 points were discussed. First one was obviously terrorism, which is the most important challenge in the region. So the declaration expressed serious concern about the growing terrorist incidents, and also it recognized the need of taking serious measures to address the recruitment of youth to these extremist terrorist networks. And it called for an early finalization of CCIT, which is Comprehensive Convention on International Terrorism. And declaration also talks about the drug menace in the region, and it expressed a concern on the cultivation and export of opium from Afghanistan, and it also emphasized on the connectivity and economic cooperation. It applauded some of the initiatives like One Belt One Road of China, Tapi, Turkmenistan, Afghanistan, Pakistan and India, oil pipeline from Turkmenistan to India, passing through Afghanistan and Pakistan. Then also a TAT rail link which connects Turkmenistan, Afghanistan and Tajikistan. Right, so these are some of the initiatives which will provide a better connectivity, and the better connectivity will lead to economic prosperity that will finally lead into peace and normality. So these were some of the important points you can remember from Amritsar Declaration, and these are the participating countries here. So let's move ahead. BRICS nations to share tax information automatically to eliminate tax evasion. So decision was taken during a meeting of revenue heads of BRICS countries in Mumbai. So it was decided to bring in tax transparency. Automatic information sharing on taxation should take place between the countries, and all the countries have to come together to fight BEPS, base erosion profit shifting. So what happens is BEPS is basically a tax avoidance strategy which is used by multinational companies basically, where profits are shifted from jurisdictions that have high taxes, for example India or US, to jurisdictions that have low taxes or maybe sometimes no taxes. These are known as tax havens, for example Cayman Islands, British Virgin Islands, etc. So this should not happen, because the country where the economic activity actually takes place gets deprived of the taxation, because these companies very intelligently, very cleverly, they shift these profits to other countries. They show that they are being generated in the other country where the taxation is very low. And the countries also endorse CRS, which is Common Reporting Standard, so that the sharing of information becomes smooth and easy for the countries. And why there is so much urgency about it? Why so much fuss around this? Because the opportunities for MNCs to pay less tax harms everybody. If MNCs are paying less tax, it will harm everybody. The government loses the revenue, and it may have to cut public services and increase the taxes on everybody else, right? Because it has to earn revenue somehow from taxation, so it will tax everybody. Regressive taxation will take place, and even other businesses suffer, because small businesses which are working mainly in one nation or new firms, they cannot compete with these MNCs which are making huge profits because they are not paying taxes. So tax evasion is a deep concern for BRICS nations basically. If you see the top 5 nations where tax evasion takes place, these top 5 nations are BRICS nations only, and this leads to inequality in the society. And tax evasion is also an offense under IT Act in India. Okay, And you should understand there is a difference between tax evasion and tax avoidance. Tax avoidance means that using some loopholes in the taxation rules, you are avoiding the tax. You are using some exemptions or some kind of provisions which are there in the law itself to avoid the tax, which is completely legal, not an issue. But tax evasion is that you are using illegal means to evade the tax. So this is an offense under IT Act, tax evasion, but not tax avoidance. So let's move ahead. Next news item is India inks rupees 5,000 crore defense deal with US to buy 145 M777 howitzers. So this is a government to government agreement to buy M777 ultralight howitzers 145, and this is a $750 million deal, rupees 5,000 crore. What this deal talks about is M777 howitzer gun, which is manufactured by BAE Systems, will be supplied to India, and 25 guns will be ready to use, and remaining 120 will be made in India with the help of Mahindra Group, which is a partner with BAE Systems. So this is in accordance with Make in India program, and also it is done to fulfill the offset clause of around 200 million. So what is this offset? You should know about this. So whenever India makes a defense deal with any other country, say with US only, 100 rupees maybe, okay, so India says that there should be, if I am paying you 100 rupees, you should invest 30%, that is 30 rupees in India for manufacturing. So this is how these deals take place. So let's see some of the capabilities of this particular gun. So this is a lightweight gun, which is the main advantage of this, 4100 kg, and so it can be transported by helicopters also, and the firing range is 24 kilometer, right? So these are some of the important points. Now let's come to the next news item. India crosses $300 billion milestone in FDI. So this is according to World Investment Report 2016, which is published by UNCTAD, United Nations Conference on Trade and Development. So these days UPSC is asking in prelims these various reports, and which is the agency which is publishing that particular report. So just keep this in mind, okay? And according to the report, India has received $300 billion FDI from 2010 to 2016, and 33% of this, one third of this, a major chunk has come from Mauritius. What is the reason? Reason is because of double taxation avoidance agreement between India and Mauritius. So what India does is, India does not tax the FDI which comes from Mauritius, because Mauritius is already taxing it to avoid double taxation on the entity which is investing in India. So people are taking advantage of that and investing in India. So 33% FDI is coming from Mauritius. Then other major investors are Singapore, US, UK and Netherlands. And the maximum investment has gone to service sector. These are some of the points which you have to remember. The points which are highlighted in yellow are intentionally highlighted. So you just keep these major points in mind, that which sector has received the maximum, which is a country which is contributing maximum. So it does not mean that Mauritius is by itself investing that much in India. What is happening here is people are using Mauritius route. Mauritius is just a route for the investors from other countries because of double taxation avoidance agreement. And on a global scale, if you see, then the big picture is that FDI flows are increasing after 2008 financial crisis, but it is still short by 10% from the 2007 peak. So these are some of the important points. Let's move ahead. Remote sensing satellite ResourceSat 2A successfully launched. So the satellite was launched by ISRO on 7th December 2016 from Satish Dhawan Space Center, Sriharikota. And this is PSLV's 38th flight. It has taken 37 successful flights till now. And here this time PSLV XL version was used for the first time, which has a capacity of 3,200 tons. And this is actually a follow-on mission for ResourceSat 1 and ResourceSat 2, right? And this will be in an orbit of 817 kilometers sun synchronous. Sun synchronous is nothing but polar orbit. Usually these remote sensing satellites are in the polar orbit, right? Sun synchronous. There are other satellites which are geosynchronous. Those are communication satellites basically. So this will be the orbit. If these are the poles, then this is how the orbit will look like. It is having a polar orbit, 817 kilometers above the ground level. Then 3 payloads are there in this particular satellite. These are basically 3 cameras which will take high resolution images of the Earth, right? The next news item is Petroleum Ministry moots Asian Buyers Forum to counter OPEC clout. So the proposal is that Asian LNG Buyers Forum should be formed. So this is a proposal from Minister of State for Petroleum and Natural Gas, Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan. So what Mr. Pradhan is saying is the OPEC is trying to increase the prices. OPEC is a group of countries which are exporting petroleum to the world, right? So that cartel or that group of countries is trying to increase the price. So why don't we, the Asian buyers, have our own forum? Like sellers have their own forum, the buyers also should have their own forum, so that the way they control the prices, we can also demand a particular favorable price for ourselves. So this entire move is to balance the influence of OPEC nations. The context is that OPEC's decision has recently come where they are saying that we will cut the output to increase the prices, because the prices are, from last 2-3 years, they are almost 1/4 of what it used to be a few years back. It is somewhere around $30-$35 per barrel right now, whereas it had touched 130 per barrel as well a few years back. So these are the OPEC nations. Okay, you should remember these names. Then the thing is, why is it so important for India? Because first of all, it will ensure equitable trade. Other thing is, there's a mounting pressure on Indian exchequer. If the prices will increase, then India will definitely have to cut other expenditures, and it is in line with Government of India's vision for a gas-based economy, right? So these are some of the important points regarding this news item. Let's move ahead. Member of Parliament submit plea to remove Hyderabad High Court judge. So this is an important news item from the constitution point of view. Pay attention here. So 61 MPs have submitted a petition to Rajya Sabha chairman Mr. Hamid Ansari to initiate the removal of Hyderabad High Court judge Mr. C.V. Nagarjuna Reddy. And the reason is there is an allegation of misbehavior by another judge of the High Court, right? So let's see how the judges are removed. What is the process of removal? So Article 124 Clause 4 of the Constitution and Judges Inquiry Act 1986 determine the procedure for the removal of judges, right? And a judge may be removed from his office only by an order by the President on the grounds of the proved misbehavior or incapacity. Only two reasons are mentioned in the Constitution: misbehavior or incapacity. Proved misbehavior. Okay, so who will prove it? We will see in the subsequent points. So how it starts is, motion of impeachment is addressed to the President, and this motion of impeachment is to be signed by at least 100 members of Lok Sabha or 50 members of Rajya Sabha. So in our case, 61 MPs of Rajya Sabha have already signed it. So after this, an investigation committee of 3 members is formed. 3 members are 3 Supreme Court judges, and if the judge is found guilty by the committee, then the report is sent to the House for voting. Then the voting for removal takes place in each House, and if the impeachment motion is passed with 2/3 majority of the members present and voting in both the Houses, then the judge is removed by an order of the President of India, right? So this is the entire impeachment process for removing a judge. It may be a Supreme Court judge or a High Court judge. Both require the same process to be followed, right? Let's move ahead. So NITI Aayog forms Chandrababu Naidu committee to promote cashless society and digital economy. So this is a 13-member committee which consists of CMs of Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, MP, Sikkim, Puducherry and Maharashtra. So what is the task given to them? Task is to identify global best practices and to assess the applicability in Indian context, and action plan. They have to develop an action plan for rapid expansion of digital payment systems, and they have to identify and address the bottlenecks in this particular process. Now let's see what are the benefits of digitization of payments. The benefits are, first of all, financial inclusion, because everyone comes under the net. Then access of financial services will be very easy, and formalization of all the financial transactions, because it will take place with the help of digital systems, and it increases transparency and plugging leakages from the system. Next news item is DTAB suggests for one-time license for drugs. So who is DTAB? First of all, Drugs Technical Advisory Board. It is the highest statutory decision-making body under the Union Ministry of Health on technical matters. It was constituted as per the Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1940, and it has 20 members. 10 are ex officio members and 5 nominated and 5 elected members. So what is DTAB saying? It is saying that one-time license should be given to the pharmacy companies for manufacturing and sale of drugs. They need not come to us every time for the renewal of the license. So what will be the benefits here? The benefits will be mainly the ease of doing business will increase in the pharmaceutical sector, and it will boost Make in India program as well. And this is a customer centric initiative basically, because the high availability of the drugs, important drugs, can be ensured if there is a ease of doing business for the pharmaceutical sector. Okay, and this encourages innovation as well, because the process of obtaining licenses is hassle free, then companies can focus completely on innovation part of their business, right? So that's all here. Let's move ahead. So Delhi High Court quashes government ban on fixed dose combination drugs. So what is the background here? Background is that 300 fixed dose combination drugs were banned by the government in March. Okay, then pharma companies obtained a stay on the order. Now High Court has quashed the ban completely. It said that the government has taken this decision haphazardly without consulting the relevant agencies. So the government has said that the FTC drugs, the fixed dose combination drugs, may result in antimicrobial resistance, and this may lead to organ failure also, because there is a high toxicity in this combination. Now court has said that government has violated the provisions of its own Drugs and Cosmetics Act 1942 by not consulting DTAB, which is Drugs Technical Advisory Board, which we just saw in the previous slide, right? So according to Drugs and Cosmetic Acts, a 3 months notice to be given before any ban. So even this was not followed, because the due process of law was not followed. The court has quashed the ban completely, right? So what are these FDCs? What are these fixed drug combinations? So FDCs are basically drugs where we combine 2 or more drugs in a single pill, and these are widely used to improve patient compliance, as it is easier to get someone to take one drug than several. So you have something known as, some tablets known as Combi Flam, right? This is a tablet which is available in the market. So this is FDC. This is a fixed drug combination, because it contains 2-3 drugs which will be acting on different symptoms, maybe headache or body pain or fever, right? So this is a fixed drug combination. So government was skeptical about the side effects of these, and it, in a haphazard manner, it banned these drugs, right? So Supreme Court has again allowed the sale and manufacture of these particular drugs, right? So let's move ahead. So Amazon launches global startup program called Launchpad in India. So Launchpad programs actually provides market and visibility at a global scale to the startups, and it is to enable Indian startups to sell their products overseas, because Amazon is a marketing platform. And this program is undertaken by Amazon plus Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion and NASSCOM. And the partners are NITI Aayog, Indian Angel Network, and NASSCOM's 10,000 Startups program. Next news item is Dr. B.R. Ambedkar's birth anniversary to be declared as Water Day. So this you should remember. So his birth anniversary falls on April 14th, and in view of his contribution towards the country's water resource management, this decision was taken, right? So what he has done in this particular area. So these are some of the important points you should remember. He laid the foundation of CWINC, which is Central Waterways Navigation and Irrigation Commission, which was a precursor to Central Water Commission, which we have now. And he also contributed in the inclusion of entry 56 in the list 1 of the 7th schedule. Then article 262, which is concerning the adjudication of the disputes related to water of interstate rivers. And he also introduced the concept of River Valley Authority and multi-purpose development of river, right? So these are some of the important points, 4 points, which you can remember in this particular context. So sometimes they ask in mains such kind of questions which are very person specific. Like 3 years back they have asked about Maulana Abul Kalam Azad and what was his contribution in the field of education, right? So these are some of the important points here. Now let's move ahead. Asia's first cycle highway was inaugurated in Uttar Pradesh, and it will stretch from Etawah to Agra. It is a 207 kilometer long track. It is basically a 7 feet wide highway which is parallel to the main highway. And Navy Day was celebrated on 4th December. This was the 45th Navy Day, and it is celebrated on 4th December to commemorate the Operation Trident against Pakistan in 1971. So Navy had played a very major role in 1971 war. Right? If you have watched the movie Rustam, then you can have some glimpses of those events. And when is Army Day celebrated? Army Day is celebrated on 15th January every year, and Air Force Day is celebrated on 8th October, and Navy Day on 4th December. So these are some of the days which you can just remember. So this is the next news item. Justice J.S. Kehar to be appointed as 44th Chief Justice of India. His full name is Jagdish Singh Kehar. He is 64 years of age. So how many years are pending for him? Only 1 year, because 65 years is the age of retirement for a Supreme Court judge. For a High Court judge, it is 62 years, and he is the 44th Chief Justice of India. He will be succeeding Chief Justice of India Tirath Singh Thakur, and he will be sworn in on 4th January 2017 by the President of India. And he was recommended by the collegium system because NJAC has not yet been finalized, so still we are following the collegium system. And what are some important judgments where he was involved? In Supreme Court, he had led 5-judge constitutional bench which had struck down the NJAC Act itself, which was the 99th Constitution Amendment Act for the appointment of judges. And he also headed a Supreme Court bench which had set aside the imposition of President's rule in Arunachal Pradesh in January 2016. So these were some of the important judgments where he was involved. So that's all, guys. That's all for this week. The following weeks are coming soon, and we have missed some of the weeks of October and November. Those will also be updated soon, so stay tuned. Please subscribe to the channel here if you like these videos. Thank you for now. Bye bye.